Some bearish Bitcoin news yesterday, but the market is still holding. So I've got a big level. Bitcoin must hold if we are going to carry on, guys. I'm covering this plus loads of altcoins. I've got NAS, I've got 𝗏. I've got some oil for you, longs and shorts. Let's go. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. Now you can see I am still not in my studio. I'm back in the studio from tomorrow. And I'm also launching that new channel, The Daily Entry. So there's a lot happening this week. So just bear with me. I'm watching about 30 minutes, a little bit early, 30 minutes, okay, give or take. So by the time this is live for you, I've just kind of shot it. Let's get into Bitcoin. Let's see what is going on right now. This is Bitcoin on the daily. Now I covered this situation yesterday. I told you guys about the possibility of Bitcoin still pushing higher on the daily time frame. So in terms of our oscillator, we are okay. In terms of our cash flow, we are okay for now. It is tilting a little bit to the upside. So things are looking on track in terms of the daily for upside target, 66K into about 68K. So I'm pretty happy with where we are at the moment from that side, in spite of Michael Saylor selling all of his BTC basically yesterday. So that was pretty much a shock to the market, but they seem to have priced that in relatively quickly. Now, in terms of Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, you can see in terms of this plan, we are okay. Like a major level chart that we are watching here, we are fully zoomed out at the moment. And you can see the weekly is totally fine. We got our bounce on our local, in fact, on our macro VWAP, our macro 618, and so far, so good. So any pushes into that 50-day MA are making a lot of sense to me at the moment. If we go higher, we will deal with that. There's the 200 up here at 74K. Wouldn't that be a nice surprise if we can push it into those types of levels? But in terms of the daily, in terms of the weekly, we are good. We are on track. What do we do on slightly lower timeframes? Well, let's take a look at USDT dominance again. I covered this one yesterday. This is a big one, especially for the lower timeframe stuff, because you can see USDT dominance is sitting on this 50-day moving average, which is support. And that is what is holding the rest of the market back from some kind of pump or some kind of explosion. So what we really want to see, USDT dominance drop below the 50-day MA, and that should give us a second run on the altcoins. And if we get a second run, you're going to see some of these alts that I'm talking about now, some of them have reclaimed some really big levels, like ONDO above the 200-day, for example. Then we've got a couple of alts under the 50-day moving average. Look at ETH, for example. That's one of them. Link is one of them as well. So if this USDT dominance drops below that 50-day MA, you're going to see these alts start popping off as well. And you're going to see, obviously, a Bitcoin push to the upside. Okay, so USDT, we're watching this one closely. Right now, it is on bullish support. Let's see how this plays out. We are looking bearish on the oscillator. Look at all those reversal prints on the weekly. So the signs are there that we should come net down. Let's just not get rinsed on super high leverage here with what we can see in front of us. Okay, so the cards are potentially falling into place now. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, what is the obvious level? What are we watching? So we had this super bearish news. Well, supposedly bearish news. We had Saylor selling more BTC. Remember, he promised us he was never going to sell. Now he's selling. And look what the market did. They dropped it into this VWAP that I covered for you guys yesterday. I had a nice long box somewhere in that area yesterday. I covered the zone for you guys. So you should be locked in there on that BTC bounce. Look at that 61K on that VWAP. Nice strong move there after that news came out. Okay, now what do we do? What is the obvious level? So you can see this local bull zone has to be the obvious play for today. So we've got market open in the next 30 minutes. For me, you're going to see by the time you're watching us, the US market should be open. And really what we want to see this local bull zone hold for us. I would say another dip into that zone, we can look for some potential bounce longs again on BTC, and we're going to trade this VWAP until it is lost. Okay, so once we close that VWAP, then we're going to reassess where we are. If we do start bleeding lower, the level hasn't changed much from yesterday. We are looking at 59,200. That is an interesting zone for us. And then we've got the lower, well, the lows at 58K that we're going to be watching. But right now for me, guys, again, it's all about that local bull zone. Let's see what happens in that area. And then in terms of the oscillator, it's difficult to get a clear read on this guy. Look at all this chop here. We're getting all these bearish signs, but it's chopping around. It's like losing only small little dips, for example, on this oscillator, and it's coming back pretty hard. And you can see we're about to print another toe curler here on BTC. So if we do start pushing a little bit more to the upside on Bitcoin, what do we want to see? Well, there's a 3 three obvious levels here where we should get some kind of rejection on BTC. Zone number one is going to be 65,500. This is our first circle that you see up there, 65.5. Why is this obvious for me? 786. Look at that beautiful high over there as well. So that looks like a typical rejection zone there on BTC. And then I've got slightly more banger zone up here. We've got 66,500 and 67,500. This box over here looks pretty good. You see this VWAP coming down here from the upside. Look at the slightly more macro 382 in that area. Look at our 50-day MA. Look at these highs. Okay, so you can see this picture that I'm building over here. This is the big one for me. This box over here looks amazing. So possible push up into that area. Look for a TP at least if you're sitting in longs, and this could be an incredible short zone there for us on BTC. It doesn't have to be a short that sends it to zero, but it could be something that turns into, you know, a little bit more of a substantial move on BTC. So look out for that guy over there, and that short zone for me is 66.5 into 67.5. That's looking super interesting. Obviously be careful with your alts once Bitcoin pops into that zone. And then just one more note, look at that area ties in perfectly to the macro 382, the VWAP from the highs, that 50-day MA. Okay, so you can see that little picture that I've built here on the lower time frame. So that is going to be the high conviction sell zone or the high conviction short zone. If we reclaim that and we start holding that 50-day MA, then we're going to open a whole different kettle of fish. We're going to target the 200-day on Bitcoin, and then these alts are going to run a little bit higher. But let's go step one now. Let's get into that zone. Then we deal with it later on. Okay, so guys, remember all of these charts, they go into the Hackers Discord for you directly after the show. You'll have access to all of them. Just go into the show description, click on more, and you're going to see all the exchanges that I trade on. You're going to have access to the Discord there as well. Even the indicators that I use are sitting there for you guys. Okay, now we're going to jump into oil. I've got NASDAQ, I've got Dow, I've got a gold update for you guys. I've got a sneaky Apple short. Shall we have a go? Maybe we short some Apple here. And then I've got ETH, Sol, loads of updates from yesterday, and a couple of other banger altcoins. Okay, let's go. Let's see what is going on with oil. This is obviously a big marker for us. Now, oil, I did drop this in the Discord yesterday. We are rejecting in the first rejection zone that made sense to me yesterday. Okay, so this is our WTI crude oil vantage chart, 69.7. This is your typical first rejection zone on oil, and you can see we've turned a little bit red here a couple of times, and the market has given us little mini pumps along the way. Now, obviously, I think there's the possibility that oil gives us a bearish divergence print, something along those lines on that oscillator. If it does, these are the bangers, guys. This is the zone, 71 and 71.7. I'm looking for shorts in that area. Look at that VWAP coming through. Look at that 382. Look at these wicks here coming into play for us. So that area is the banger zone for me. What does this mean? It means if oil runs into that zone, there is the possibility of, say, for example, NASDAQ falling over, Dow falling over, a little bit of bearish activity there, crypto as well for the short term, and then we're looking at longs again once we move into that type of region. Okay, so remember there's multiple oil charts, so just make sure the exchange that you are trading on, you are tracking one that matches the Vantage chart that I'm watching over here. There are a couple of differentials, but you will see the candles typically tie in relatively well together, and just make sure that those zones are getting tied in nicely. Now, in terms of the NAS, this is an interesting one. Yesterday, a couple of zones came into play. This was the lower one that I spoke about, the 50-day MA, and this I think we had a roughly around the 618 as well, but now I've obviously readjusted this one for today's action. So zone number one for the NAS, if we get some kind of short-term dip today in the next, say, hour or so, I would say you can probably risk reward, look for some kind of long in this box over here. So this is 29,370 into this lower zone, 29,276. Okay, so just for example, make sure that your candles tie in with the exchange that you are trading on. For example, I do a lot of this stuff on Ubit, and you can see there's subtle differences in where these wicks are. So just to give you an example, this area over here, that local wick there is 29,303 on the Ubit chart, but if we go into the NAS, you can see that is 29,276. So make sure you make your final, or you enter your final parameters on the exchange that you are trading on. For example, even if you're on Prime XBT or one of the others, make sure you're tying in, but they do have like-for-like candles, as long as you are playing those zones. Look at that lower level there, 29,100. Let's see what it is on the UBIT chart. That is 29,152. Okay, so just match the candles when you are looking for longs and shorts on these charts. Then in terms of zone number 2 for the bounce, guys, I just want to show you this guy. Long zones here on the NAS, high probability bounce in that bottom wick. So that is the 29,100 that I just covered. And then the lower zone here for me, I'd say 29,945. These look like high probability reaction zones, and we don't need to shoot the lights out here. We don't have to go for 5-to-1 trades. We're literally looking for reactions in these zones. If we can get a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 trade consistently in those areas, then you're going to be super happy. Okay, so don't hang on too long. These things do get volatile. They can chop you around, especially if you're playing big size. Now, in terms of shorts later on today, if we pump, high probability rejection zone. Look at this, 618 bearish order block, VWAP, wick highs in the zone. Look for shorts, 29,820 here, this type of region on the NAS. Okay, I'm going to drop this chart in the hackers Discord there for you guys. Let's recap on the Dow. This thing was wild yesterday. Look at this. We got that pump into the short zone. Look at that wick there on the Dow. Massive drop into the long zone. Well, not quite. It front ran that area. Look at that. We had that wick over there. Look how they front ran that zone. The buyers, the bulls really came in pretty quickly there on this Dow. Okay, so look out. These things give you massive moves and it happens super fast. So just be careful how you manage your size as well. Don't get trapped in these things. Okay, look at these wild swings you see on the Dow. And what was the second plan? The second plan was, if we break these highs, longs above the zone, once you see support, I unfortunately didn't get this play, but you can see, look at that, it claimed the previous high as support. Look at that, there's our previous high, claimed it as support, and now it started pushing back to the upside. Okay, so in terms of the Dow, I'm going to work on some new fresh setups for you guys. Let this thing just chop around. It is now back at all-time high, and we got to let things play out a little bit. I want to see some defined areas, and then we can start looking for some fresh trades there. Okay, so well done to anybody that got some of that action. Wild thing. Just be patient in trading this stuff. Play the big zones. You can see, look at these rejections at these types of wicks here. Look how they're playing those areas, guys. You will get the hang of this. Just keep going at it. Here was gold. Front ran my zone, 4,103. I was looking at yesterday on gold. You can see we front ran the zone. I was looking for 1 hour divergence in that zone, and gold did come and eventually print the bullish divergence in that zone there for us, but unfortunately it front ran the zone. Okay, so now you can see we're getting a hard push now on gold with that divergence print, and nothing to do at the moment. I still think we can get a second bite at that 4,103 level there later on. Okay, so just letting gold play out. We do have some big levels lower down. I'll update obviously in the Discord if there is anything exciting happening there. Okay, so guys, now that's NASDAQ oil gold for you guys. Reminder, the new channel, the daily entry, at the daily entry on YouTube, that goes live on Thursday. That is where you're going to find these DGen, Dow, NAS setups, oil, gold, and Bitcoin coming at you 3 or 4 times a week on this channel. So just a reminder, go into YouTube. It's at daily entry. You can find it there. First show is getting dropped on Thursday. Okay, so in 2 days, I am dropping the first show. They're going to be super short videos for you. I'm going to give you these impact zones that you can trade when the market opens. You should find yourself pretty busy with these setups that I'm going to give you guys on this. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure your notifications are on, so when I drop that first video, you are out the gates. Okay, now we're going to hit you with some altcoins here. I've got ETH, Sol, Hyperliquid, CAS hit the zone. Virtual still hanging on. ONDO from yesterday. Cardano, I'll give you guys an update there. AERO, trying to play a breakout on that. WLD, ICP, Link. Okay, let's get you some altcoin setups for today, and let's see if we can take advantage of what is going on. Here is ETH, and again, back on the watch list. And I don't know why, maybe because it's woken up a little bit now and it's annoying me, but here we go. Okay, so in terms of ETH from yesterday, the plan was we've got to break and hold above this 50-day moving average to get bullish, or we need to look for longs lower down on ETH. So right now, in terms of what we've seen in the last 24 hours, it's just chop. There's just been this local chop around in the market, and there's actually nothing to trade here at the moment. Okay, so things are a little bit wild and spicy. Longs 1670 into 1634. Alternatively, let's look for this plan. Let's break above this 50-day MA, and then we've got longs 1,800. So get your alarms on above 1,800. If we can hold above that level, start nibbling at a long. Remember this Dow chart that we've just looked at over here. Reminder, look at that. Break above the zone. You want to hold it as support. Then you can look for some longs in the zone. And I've just realized I'm digressing because I forgot the Apple short. Okay, if you want to do something a little bit spicy, if you want to have a go, your risk is about 1 to 2% on Apple. This thing is pumped back to all-time highs. It's busy taking out some wicks over here. Apple traders, okay, you can get about a 1 to 2% risk on this thing. It might be a short-lived short, but we can try and get some kind of move here. You can see market's going to open 315. It is going to gap up. So try and get the sweep 318, 319. If you can get that possible short-term short, maybe a couple of percent here for you guys on Apple. Don't get married to it. If it explodes to that level, it can obviously rinse you a little bit here if you're trying to hang on to it. Okay, so look for something there. Could be a fun one. Now let's get back to the shit coins. Yes, Sol, and that head and shoulders that I covered yesterday, pretty much the same. Look at that chop. They're just taking out super high leverage traders at the moment, chopping things around. Where's the long zone? It's 76.4 into 74 for Sol. That makes the most sense for me. And then in terms of the upside, well, if there is an upside break, guys, you can see these are the three levels, and it's very similar to Bitcoin to the upside at the moment. So if Sol does start running, you got shorts at 84. You can try that. It has rejected twice already. So shorts at 84, 87, 90, and 93. Those are the obvious zones there for me where I think you're going to get some reactions there on Solana. But right now, it's undecided. Chopping around, head and shoulder-ish. I'd prefer it lower down. Okay, 76 into that 74 zone makes more sense. Hyperliquid as well, not quite hitting the degen zone. 67.8, guys. I still like that region over there as the sort of the degen long zone. And then shorts, I know 𝗂𝗏𝗂 loves a hype short. There it is. Okay, so possible short up there, 76.5, 77, that type of region on hype. That is where I think is a reasonable place to look for shorts on that guy. Okay, it makes a lot of sense there. And if we do shoot up today, that oscillator is going to be printing all sorts of divergences here, and then you should see at least some kind of move to the downside. Now let's look at CAS. I covered these two levels yesterday and pretty much playing out to plan. We are now long 29.2. I am sitting in a CAS long off this lower level over here, and we have seen our reversal prints now on the 2-hour time frame. So now right now it's up to the crypto gods to start giving us some kind of market bounce, start giving these alts some kind of bounce. But in terms of ticking boxes, did we hit our level? Yes. Did we get a reversal print on the 2-hour? Yes. So for me, that's enough to at least execute a long. Okay, so I'm sitting in a long here. It's not doing much at the moment, but obviously short term, looking for a push maybe into, say, 31 would be reasonable here for us, something like that on this CAS. Okay, so let that one play out. In terms of the exit plan, I'd say exit 289. Okay, close below 289, reasonable exit. But you can see that 2 hours looking nice now on that oscillator, looking for some kind of move there. Now, virtual, this is an interesting one because I've added a little bit to this guy. And one of the interesting things here is this blue dot reversal that we've seen. Now, subsequent to me reshooting this video, we've just got a red candle, and you can see now the threat of a possible downside toe curler. Okay, so that's not going to be that pretty for me. If they're going to give us the toe curler, it means one of two things. Well, number one, we're probably looking at longs at 5156 on virtual. Okay, so I've added to it on the basis that virtual holds 53, which was our long zone from yesterday. I'm looking for that area to hold. If we start dropping, I would say you're going to get double divergence prints, 515. That is going to be the next long zone there. That makes sense. Let's look at ONDO. No changes from yesterday. ONDO is still above the 200, still above the local VWAP. 32 is the number there. No changes there for me. I'm happy with where we're sitting. I'm just sitting in that position, letting it tick over. I'm waiting for this chart to reset here. Let's see the damage. No, we're good. Okay, so ONDO's good, above 32 for me so far. And then in terms of what I've got going on here, you can see there's CAS at the moment. There's AERO. I'm chasing an AERO breakout at the moment. You can see Cardano is still in the mix for me, looking much better than the other day. It was negative, literally negative 7,000 or 8,000. It was pretty uncomfortable. ONDO doing its thing. So no real changes there other than increasing some sizing on one or two of these guys. Okay, so ADA, let's talk about this thing. I'm struggling to find a reason to long this thing, even if there are good zones of interest and stuff. You can see this was just a brutal squeeze that they gave us the other day, and now it is starting to make its way lower down. So I am expecting at least a push into this 162 region for Cardano. Not doing anything yet with my current position. If it turns green, I might start clipping off a couple of profits after getting out of jail there on that one. Okay, so looking for this thing to reset on the 4. Let's see how long that takes. Let's see what that looks like. But it's nice. We've got the rejection at the 50-day. And for me, anyone short Cardano, we want to be below that area. Makes sense for me on that guy. Now, in terms of potential breakout plays, one of the ones that caught my eye today was AERO, and a lot's gonna depend on what happens now in the US Open. That's by the time you're watching this, US Open is live. But something to consider here on AERO, we have got the breakout. So I've started my AERO position and I'm looking for a push to the upside. In terms of how do you play the breakouts, what are you looking for? So option 1, you can do the most degen thing, and that is a stop loss under the 1 hour breakout candle. Obviously, that's a high probability of getting stopped. If you do that, if it chops around, it does get a little bit dangerous there. Alternatively, you can create your local bull zone. Look at that, from the lows to the highs, get your VWAP in there, and you can see my local bull zone support at the moment, 5825.574. Okay, that's our local bull zone support that I'm using at the moment for AERO. And then obviously, guys, remember the story every single time. If you are bearish, the easiest play as well for you is you can look to short any sweeps of the highs. Okay, so anyone interested in shorting, when you see these pops of these highs, remember a lot of the time they are fake outs to the upside, and you can even grab that short. Even if into the local bull zone, you can still lock yourself into some kind of move. And that is the basis, for example, of what I'm looking at here for Apple today as a potential pump and dump here on this guy at these highs. Okay, so it's that simple pump through the highs and then a rejection and then chase down into the bull zone. So that trade is always available. When you see an altcoin pushing into a high, you always have those options. You can nibble on that breakout and you can look for those shorts. And once you get the rejection, you just bang your stop above these highs. That's always on the table. And then obviously it depends. If the bulls are going to step in, they're going to step in over here. Alternatively, this thing just drops all the way down, and then you've nailed the short. Okay, so remember, there's always 2 options on a breakout. Okay, let's see how AERO plays out. 5825.574. That is the support for me. I'm cutting if we start losing that zone. Then in terms of near, I think we got a long coming on near today, looking pretty good here for me. 196 into 1916. Look out for those areas. I've got 2 bullish order blocks here. Both look pretty good to me in terms of a bounce. And in terms of our oscillator on the 1 hour, this thing is now printing double divergences there. Look at those divergences printing over there. And you can see it might just give us one more toe curler into this lower region. Bang. Okay, like that. And then we get a long on near. Now, there might be some news actually on near today, and remains to be seen when it's coming out, but you might find that there is a little bit bullish action here. So 196 looks interesting, and 192 looks interesting on near for some longs there for you guys. Another one is WLD. I think we're going to get a long lower down. I was speaking to Nagel earlier today, and he was drawing his magical waves. And I quite like the look of that. So 375 looks pretty good. We got 786 trend here on the 4 hour. And at the moment, that looks like a long zone. If we take a look at this oscillator, it's getting close on the 4 hour to some kind of reversal here on that WLD. So 375 looking interesting for WLD. Then in terms of ICP, I think we've got some shorts that could come into play. Obviously, you can see ICP super choppy at the moment. I mean, it's there's no real big movements in this at the moment, but I'd say the next move for us on ICP could give us a short opportunity. The first zone is going to be to take out these wicks. You see these highs over here. There'll be a ton of stops in this type of area, and you might find ICP squeezes up and then drops you into that type of move. Okay, so look out there. ICP, guys, 233 into 24. 2 big rejection zones. Look at that 50-day moving average. Look at that 618 as well. 233 into 2.4 could be a really nice short. They wipe out those stops and then they drop it down. Okay, so nice bearish option there for you on that guy. And then Link as well, interesting one. This thing floating around. Look, like a lot of altcoins. And for me, what are the plays? Well, Link has got to be long from lower down, or we're looking at shorts at this upper band that you see on the chart. So in terms of longs for me on Link, if we get a drop today, I would say anything 7.58 into 7.44 looks pretty good for me on Link. Look at that inverse undercarriage VWAP 0.5 as well. Look at that 618 sitting over there. So 758 into 744, that area as a whole looks pretty good, pretty nice and solid there for me on Link. Then in terms of rejections, guys, a push into the 786, look for that fake pump today. If we get some news or something, look at that, 8.27 looks like a great short zone. DGen short, 1.5% stop loss, give or take. Alternatively, look for the pump into that zone. Look at this VWAP coming in from the highs as well. 8.5, call it 8.5 on Link. Looks pretty bearish up there for me as well. Probably about a 2% risk there for you guys. Okay, so hopefully that's enough to get you guys going for the rest of the day. I think you got your hands full here with a lot of action. I'm going to be back tomorrow doing a slightly later show than the normal Wednesday show that I do with Jay. I am traveling during the day tomorrow, so I'm going to be in a little bit later. So guys, yeah, sorry about me disappearing on vacation for a couple of days, but I'm back in the mix tomorrow. New channel is coming on live on Thursday. There's a lot happening here over the next couple of weeks at Chart Hackers, guys. Super exciting. Good luck. See you later.